Hello everybody, my name is Marina Stegall, and I'm here together with the Spiritistsfederation of Ireland to talk a little bit about Spiritism. And the backbone of Spiritism is this book called the Spirit's Book. So the purpose of this series of videos and this work is just to share a little bit what Spiritism is all about. It's very little known. There's a lot of misconceptions about it. And the intent is that this knowledge or this philosophy can bring some comfort to people. So let me start by talking a little bit of what Spiritism is. So we cannot talk about Spiritism without talking about Allan Kardec. Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rivail, better known by his pen name Allan Kardec, he was born in Lyon, in France, on October 3rd, 1804. He comes from a family where his father and his grandparents were attorneys, and his mother was also very accomplished, and they sent him to an early age to Switzerland to be educated by Pestalozzi. That's very important because that's when he actually became a philosopher, and he developed the habit of investigation and freedom of thought. And remember, back at that time, it was unusual that people would use questioning, interrogation as a method of learning or teaching. It also gave him a passion for teaching, in which, later on he became a teacher. In his later years, he heard about the dancing tables. And these would be parties in France where, the tables would tap and answer questions. And he was very skeptical about it because, again, he was a scientist. He was also a disciple of Pestalozzi, therefore a philosopher. And he couldn't just conceive that the tables would dance. So his thing was, if there's an effect, that's got to be a cause. So he was looking for what it was. He said, maybe there's an electrical impulse, maybe there's something that's causing it. Until eventually he came in contact with those tables and he asked, who are you? And the answer was a genius or a spirit, whatever you want to call me. So he went on into being a researcher, a scientist, into studying what those things were. And he found mediums all over the world by the time they communicated through letters. And this is the thing. He was the person who started a method to understand what those communications were. So he compiled, he reviewed them, he organized them, he categorized spirits by the order of what they said and the language they used. And until he came with this book, which is called the Spirit's Book. Series of questions that answer many things that we see in life. But before we get into the book, we want to talk about the term Spiritism. So he explains that. So of course he was, any scientist is big on definitions. And he wanted to talk about the definition of Spiritism. So he talks about spirituality. Spirituality is everything beyond matter, and he has his own meaning. But Spiritism is specifically the doctrine of the spirits. We're not going to use the word doctrine very much because it has the connotation of something that's imposed. We're going to stay with the word philosophy, but that is what Spiritism is. So, and then it comes the Spirit's Book, which we're going to tell you about. This is the reading of the Spirit's Book, question number 1. The chapter number 1 is God, and the question is, what is God? The answer, God is the supreme intelligence, the first cause of all things. It's interesting that we tend to humanize God, that we create a man, sitting in a chair. And here the question is not about who, but the what. So it talks about God as the supreme intelligence, the primary cause of all things. So what animates all life beings is a manifestation of God. So it's a pretty broad answer that Kardec gives to us. And as a philosopher, he is on purpose organizing everything in a question-answer form, because it's about probing our thoughts, making us think about it, make us deduct with him what it's coming. So that's the first question. Question number 2. What is meant by the infinite? The answer: that which has neither beginning nor end, the unknown. All which is unknown is infinite. Question number 3. Could we say that God is the infinite? Answer: that would be an incomplete definition. Human speech is too impoverished and deficient to define that which transcends human intelligence. Then again, it comes with a hint of humility too. We are not capable of just comprehending God. And here is the note of Kardec below the answer. God is infinite in divine perfection, but the infinite itself is an abstract concept. Thus, to say that God is the infinite is to replace the thing itself with one of its attributes. It is to define something that is unknown by referring to something else that is equally unknown. Question number 4. Proofs of the existence of God. Where may we find proof of the existence of God? Answer: in the axiom you apply to all your sciences. There is no effect without a cause. If you would search for the cause of whatever is not the work of human beings, then reason will answer your question. The note from Kardec: to believe in God, we need only to behold the works of creation. The universe exists, therefore it must have a cause. To doubt God's existence would be to deny that every effect has a cause, and to believe that something could have resulted from nothingness. So it's pretty well explained here that everything, we are all a consequence of God. So God is the primary cause. If we go back and back to the origination of everything, God is its cause. So here's an elaboration of question number 1, which, what is God, is the primary cause of all things. We read 4 questions so far. So we learned that God is the cause of all things, the supreme intelligence, that one of his attributes is that he is infinite, but that's only one of his attributes, because if he had potentialities that were limited, he could get better, and if he would to get better, he wouldn't be God and perfect. So and then what proof do we have? So that's question number 4. Well, the proof is that things were created, that we don't know the cause, and when we don't know the cause, the primary cause is God. So you see this, that all the questions, they kind of build on each other, so we can think along with them. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you for being with us. See you next week.